What is going on, guys? Counter Fool here with the rebirth of my channel. I'm going to start out with a Madden 13 demo. Like I said in my previous commentary, I said I'm rebuild my channel, start with Madden 13. So I'm going to start it off now with my first impressions and what stood out to me positively and negatively on this Madden demo. Kind of going to go in depth on some of them not. Some might sound weird to you, some of them you might not notice. So I'm going to, of course, start off with the things that stood out to me, that impressed me the most. The thing that impressed me the most, I'm going to go from, top to, you know what I mean. Like, most impressive, something that was impressive but not as impressive as the first one. So the most impressive thing to me in this game, in the demo, was tackling, the new tackling engine. It seems like teleporting has been eliminated. So there's some instances where your guy moves a little bit over, but I think that's just a little bug with the tackle. I saw players tap a player and he'll go flying. So it appears that teleporting is pretty much faded and won't really exist as much as it has in previous Maddens. New gang tackles are brought back. You could trip over your own players. I played about 5 or 6 games, and one of the games I was playing against the Redskins, and Roy Halou did a stretch play to the left side, and Chris Clemens went to go tackle him, but one of my teammates was in front of him, and he tripped over him and could not make the tackle, leading to Roy Halou to get about a 50-yard rush. I didn't know about the tripping animation, but the tripping animation is it might be an annoyance to you, but it's a nice addition to the game. It makes it more realistic and makes you more aware that you can't run straight through your players to get that tackle anymore. You have to work around it. You got to find the holes. You got to find, you got to have the ability to find your way to the player without being interrupted by anybody else. So the tackling system was a needed addition to the game, and something that I think will make the game more competitive and more interesting for both players on both sides of the field. The second most impressive thing to me is the features that they have added. The new features. One of the features is the drop bat. I can't speak. I've been waiting for this demo all morning. The drop back engine. I don't want to call it an engine, but instead of you having to pull your analog back to do the drop back, it does the three-step drop back for you, and then after that you can control it yourself. So if you want to make that quick slant or the quick curl route, you do not have to worry about pushing your guy back. Instead, they do it for you. So now, if you don't do that, in the old games, if you didn't do that, you'd be right in front of the center, and there's a high possibility it could be picked off. So that's a nice feature. Another feature is the trajectories. So you can throw a lob ball over the linebackers. You can throw the ball, it'll get your wide receiver into a space where there's not many people that he can get to, while other people might not be able to. Another one is, like, that was, I'm going a bit more into that, is you could find a little pocket in the zone. If they have a zone, you could throw it into there and make your player go get it. Usually in Madden 12, you had to throw the ball, and then pretty much the receiver's there. And if he was running to go get it, it was a deep route. So that is a very nice addition. Another one that really stood out to me was the play action. You can actually, if you go to the demo, you can watch a video that shows some of the new features. And I did not know about this feature, but you can get out of a play action post-snap. All you do is click RT, and you do not, do your whole thing with the play action. You just go straight to the pass. They added this because play actions, you do a play action, and it's really hard to do play actions with the offensive line they had in Madden 12. So now they made it feasible for you to get out of that situation and just do a quick pass or get rid of the ball instead of having to take the sack. So that's a nice addition and feature that will really help the play action game, which needed a lot of help. It's a very big part of my game plan in the game is to enforce the play action, and I really like the feature they added on that. Actually, that would be my third. My second one would be the secondary. So, but we're not in order right now, but it doesn't matter at this point. Secondary's been improved. Actually, this would actually be behind the past two, actually. So scratch that being in front of the new features. The new secondary, definitely better than last year's. They seem smarter. They can actually catch a lot of interceptions. Actually, in this game, you only see 2 of them, but I got 3 interceptions. A lot of underthrown passes, which I'll go on a little bit later into the video. The interceptions are probably going to be more common now instead of them dropping easy passes. It's going to be more common for batted down passes because corners are smarter and the safeties are smarter. Every once in a while, you'll see a little Madden 12 secondary show up. I've had a problem where I had Eli Manning lob a ball to Akeem Nicks wide open when the safety could have simply ran over there and just enforced that play not to happen, but he just stood there in his zone. So that could just be a little bit bugged, but that's the only time I saw it occur. So it doesn't really really doesn't worry me that much. I also have another problem with the secondary, but I'll go later into the video because I believe it's a major problem. That's three things that really stood out to me that was really impressive. So just recap a little bit. The new tackling system, definitely needed. New features, a lot of features added that will be more user friendly for the offense. As in the new dropback feature in the trajectories, that makes the passing game more. How should I word this? It makes it more intriguing to use for players, and it makes it more. I can't think of the word to describe it, but it makes it more complex. That's a word. Instead of you just either holding down A or tapping A, now you can place the ball where you want to place it. Back shoulder fades. So somebody like a Tom Brady will definitely have a different passing than somebody like a Carson Palmer or Andy Dalton. So that definitely will show. And the last one was secondary. I definitely needed improvement. That was probably one of the major problems of Madden 12 was the secondary. And also adding on the secondary thing, tight ends are not as cheesy as they were. I don't know why I said was. As they were pretty much just to the point where they were unstoppable. You go over the middle with them, they're gonna catch it every time. So athletic tight ends like Aaron Hernandez, Jermichael Finley were pretty much unstoppable. But I haven't seen much. I haven't really looked into it. I haven't really tried throwing the tight end. I haven't tried throwing in the middle. You'll see this at the beginning of the game. I threw to Vernon Davis on short slant routes. So they still get somewhat separation, but I don't believe it's as bad as Madden 12 was. So now getting to the negatives that stood out to me in this game. The number one negative that stood out in this game, the most thing that really, really scared me about the game was separation. It seems like they've overpowered the secondary. They gave us receivers that are deep threats, like Hakeem Nicks, Victor Cruz, Randy Moss, Sidney Rice. He can get down the field. Pierre Garçon, he's got the speed. I've seen a lack of separation every time I've gone deep. I've not completed a deep pass at all. At all. I've thrown more interceptions than I have receptions on deep balls. That worries me so much. because if there's going to be a lack of separation, 75% of the deep throw passes, there's going to be more interceptions. It's going to lead players to abandon throwing deep, and it's gonna, games will be less scoring. There's going to be more time of possession for each team. So it's this lack of separation could change the culture of the online community of this game. So separation definitely needs to be looked at after this demo. It might not be noticeable to you, but it was very noticeable to me because the corners would stay with them. It's not a big deal. Like, I've gotten separation, which this segues into the second problem I saw. Also, another problem is wide receivers drop the ball a little bit more. I guess it might be a better feature. It might not be, but I've seen easy drop balls. But it was Hakeem Nicks and Sidney Rice that dropped them most of the time, so it wasn't a big problem for me, but it was a noticeable one. But the separation problem segues into my wow, TV was loud. You probably heard that truck stop. But what I'm trying to segue into is the separation is not only the problem for the secondary, but the pass blocking is dreadful in this game. It's inconsistent. There's some times where you'll get great pass blocking, but most of the time when I try going deep and try to get some time in the pocket, it's terrible. I cannot get any time in the pocket. And one of my friends pointed out, every team in this demo doesn't have the greatest offensive line. And where I see most of the pressure is coming is the right tackle, right guard area. So that might need to be worked on, but like my friend pointed out, is all these teams do not have the greatest offensive lines. So I'm gonna lay off on that one a little bit, but the separation is I think a big problem. I think the major problem, and the offensive line pass blocking. Like, the run blocking's fine, but the pass blocking is worrisome a little bit for me. Not as much as separation with the one-on-ones, but like I said, I was getting separation once in a while, but when I got separation, I was getting sacked. So that's kind of a domino effect maybe there. A couple other things that stood out. I mean, the uniforms, the Seahawks one, home one, I think, or their white jerseys are weird. The numbers are kind of separated. The Redskins one was weird. The other jerseys didn't have a problem with. I thought they were fine. There wasn't many negatives, but there was one big one that kind of, separated all the good things. Also, another thing I wanted to point out that I didn't point out in the positive one, the positive side, was the presentation this year is way better than Madden 12. Madden 12 was they point out presentation as the big feature, and I love what they did with the main menu. I love what they did with the pre-game stuff and the after play stuff. So it's a very nice addition, and I think Madden 13, if 2K13 cannot, NBA 2K13 can't pan out like it's being hyped up to, I think Madden 13 wins Sports Game of the Year, because there's so many changes and they're not as flawed as people think they will be. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I'll be having videos every day pretty much of the Madden demo with some tips or some analysts. I'm going to do offense and defense analysts. I'm going to analyze, some things that stood out to me on the offensive and defensive side. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and follow me on Twitter. All the links are below. I want to thank you guys for watching.